Welcome to Nkosi Talk Shows. Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Challenges we have had to overcome in 2020.
Find your own voice.
The world has become united by the unseen, knowing there are no guarantees for tomorrow.
Lead from within.
Find your own voice.
Let the world hear your voice and be filled with it.
For the day has come for you to be a great leader.
The time has come to break away from the pain, distraction, experience the unthinkable.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Nkosi Talk Show channel. And for those who don't know me, my name is Nomsa Clara Mngumbe. At Nkosi Talk Shows, we help you find your own voice and lead from within. We talk about all subjects from all walks of lives. We talk about everything. We talk about everything you can ever imagine that happens in life. If we have coaches that are qualified to actually speak about that topic. So today my topic is, what is the role of a father and the role of a husband? Where's my tissue? So as a father's role, basically, father is the roots in his children's relationship and his wife's relationship. He is the foundation in that relationship for his children. When you plant the plant, the plant has the roots, and those roots has to be watered and they grow. When they are watered, they grow. But what happens when the roots is when that root is broken? That's why I say a father is a root in his relationship with his children. When it comes to relationships, a father is the foundation in his marriage. When a woman goes through a divorce, the divorce leaves the woman, takes the woman to nothing. It doesn't matter how confident a woman is. It doesn't matter what kind of a job that woman has, but divorce destroys a woman and it destroys a man. Because when a man meets a woman, he has a vision for his life. He has a vision for his children. If it's a man that wants to have children, he has a vision of how he would like to raise his family. He is the source, basically, for that relationship. So then when a woman dedicates her life, devoting her life to raise her children and to build the foundation with the father of her children and her husband, when that relationship is being stripped from both of them, because when a relationship breaks, hold on, some tissue. when a relationship breaks, both a father and a mother, they'll be broken basically. But what happens when a relationship breaks? A woman who has devoted her life, all her life, building a foundation with her husband, watering the roots, her husband making sure that his family, his children are living the life, the vision of his life. When the marriage breaks, there are two ways. It can either the father stays, look after his children, even though they go separate ways, the father will stay present to his children, or some fathers decide the best thing is to disappear, or some mothers decide to stop the children going to see their father. It can go either way. Or if those children who are lucky, their mothers will dedicate their lives to making sure that they have that relationship, or their father will make a decision basically to be there and keep the foundation and keep planting the seeds to their children. But what happens when a father leaves and that father does not come back for his children, and that child grows up without her father, without his father? So a husband basically has the authority to create his vision for his life. He has the authority to create a vision for his children. He has the authority to actually put his family together and protect his family, create the principles in that relationship to make sure that his children are raised in a good foundation, a foundation with principles that would develop his children in the land of their living. God says, I'm giving you the land of your ancestors. So when a father makes a decision that I am going to create principles for my children, I'm going to create principles for my wife, so we raise our children together as one. We create the foundation. But what happens when that foundation is broken, when a father and a wife, their relationship is being stripped away? Their children can pay the price. So that's why I've chosen this topic, because not every father plays a part in their children. When the relationship ends, if some fathers decide to leave because they don't feel that they should be there, and that affects a child's foundation, it affects their roots of life. When principles are violated, when parents have created principles that we're going to raise you as our children. And when a father tells his wife that I'm going to love you until, when a wife devoted his life, has devoted her life to her husband, but then a few years down the line, that relationship doesn't work according to plan, because we don't know the plan, God is plan. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So the reason I chose this topic is the children end up paying the price of their fathers being absent. But some children, they get the glory because of their father. And I will say, shout out to those parents, the fathers who stay for their children, who raises their children, whether divorce or no divorce. Because it's not an easy job for a father to actually raise his own children. So I will give a shout to every man out there who is raising his children, who's giving a good foundation to his children, who is there for his children, even if they split up with their wives, but they are still there for their children. A father, he is the creator of the family. If anyone didn't know, when you enter a relationship, you date someone, a man comes with a vision. The reason why women sometimes they walk away, because they meet men who don't have a vision. A man without a vision, there is nothing. You cannot build anything with a man that he has no vision. So you build something with a man that has a vision. Every woman that is married, they can't tell me that they are married because they feel sorry for them. They are married to that man because they saw something in that man. They saw a father, someone who could be a father. someone that could create a future to their children, someone that could create a foundation from their children, someone that can produce a healthy family and build his own family. So that's why people get married. Well, those who are not married, they're in a long-term relationship with with the fathers, because they see future with them. So that's why people get together with these people, with the fathers, because they want to build the foundation, and they believe that they qualify. They're qualifying women are qualifying their father, the fathers of their children, to say, yes, you qualify to be a father for my children. Yes, we can build a foundation together to raise our children. So in order for a man and for his children to live a happy life, a man has to have a vision. A man has to have a vision for his family. He has to have a vision for his children. He has to understand his children's needs, the desires, their vision. And then a woman comes in, and she makes that vision comes to reality. And when you date someone who doesn't have a vision, that means your life and your children will be destroyed, because if you are dating a man without a vision, then your life will be destroyed, your children's life will be destroyed. And then what happens when a man walks away from his children? Sometimes when a man walks away from his children, the children can feel that there is something that is missing in their lives. There is something, because every life, when it comes to life, there is a puzzle piece that it has to be put on. So when that piece of the puzzle is finished, is actually missing a piece. When a child grows up with a mother, being raised by his mother or her mother, without the father, that child can feel that there is something missing in his life. Some fathers, they turn out on graduation. They're not present, but when they hear that their child is graduating, they turn up. And some fathers, they turn up when their child win the X Factor, whatever their reality TVs, they were never present, but they show up there. So is it right for a father who was never there from the beginning to claim the throne as a father? The Bible disagrees. It disagrees that when it says actually to the children, honor your parents. It doesn't say love, it says honor. That means if you walk out of my life, I will still honor you. But you can't force me to love me, because the Bible says you have to play your role as a parent. But if you had walked out as a parent, you lose that title. The person that steps up to take the role as a father. That person becomes a father, becomes the parent, whether it's stepfather or is just a mother, a single mom. That woman becomes a father, she becomes a mother to a child. When a man turns up for graduation only, do children have the right to actually get angry? No, we don't. We have to forgive. But forgiving, it doesn't mean that I will allow you to come to my graduation. I have a choice. God gives me a choice. God gives children a choice. For those children who actually get depressed, because their father was never there. But what they don't understand is it was never their fault, because their father was meant to play a part in their lives. But when the father decided, I'm not going to be there for you, I'm going to walk away. But when you graduate, I'm going to show up, take all the glory as a father. So that means that father is not entitled for the throne. You don't have to fight your father, because the Bible disagrees for the children that fights for their father because they were not there. But you can refuse to say no. I don't want you in my graduation, but I would love to get to know you. I would love to honor you and get to know you properly, if that's the choice that we choose to. But we still have to accept, honor them. We don't have to fight. The Bible does not say fight them. It says honor. We still have to respect our parents. We still have to honor them. Even if they might have done something that is unforgivable, we still have to honor them. I come from a broken family myself, but my father was there. He played a part in his role as a father. My stepfather played a part as a role as a father. So I come from a family basically that is broken, and I come from a family that was kept together by God. Although I come from a broken family, but my family are very close. But what I come across with every woman who is struggling to basically to settle down, it all comes down to the childhood attachment. My father wasn't there. When your father wasn't there to plant the seeds in their child, to help a child develop, to mentor his child, that is the father's job. For those who didn't know, the father's job is to protect, to mentor his children, to evaluate the environment, the community where his children lives in. Is it safe for my children to live there? Is it safe for my spouse and my children to be there? Have they eaten? He provides for his children. So what happens when the father wasn't there? That means their roots, the foundation, they get rotten. When those roots of the foundation are rotten, that means it will need basically to be fixed. So that means that foundation, that child hasn't got a proper foundation, although they have their mother. It doesn't matter how much money your mother gives you. It doesn't matter how much love your father gives you, your mother gives you, but if your father is absent, because he is the source. Your father in that relationship is the source of everything. He is a sustainer. So let's go to a father's role properly. A father's role is a provider. He provides for his children. He protects. When I'm saying he provides for his children, he's making sure that his children go to school uniform. He's making sure that his children have eaten. He makes sure that his children have clothing, all the clothes surrounding everything. The environment his children where they are, he makes sure that that environment is safe for his children. That's why he is a provider financially and emotionally. He provides emotionally for his children. He teaches his children values and beliefs. I grew up with my dad. My dad used to teach me values and beliefs about his life, his culture. That is the father. He played a role. He kept planting the foundation as a father. He was a provider. Then he is the source. The father is the source of everything. Your DNA comes from your father and your mother's side, but your father's DNA is the strongest DNA, is the foundation, because he is the maker. Without him, that means you have to find a donor to play a father's role for your mother to be able to make a child. So he is the maker, he is the creator with God. So he is the source of your DNA. He nourishes, he protects, he is the protector. He protects his wife, he protects his children. So that's how important his father is. The father's role is he looks at the environment and he approves because he has a vision. He's a man with a vision. If a man is not happy where his children live, he will say, I'm not happy to bring my children up in this environment or in this area. And he will speak to his wife, and him and his wife will make a decision to move their children somewhere else. He encourages his children. He protects, he encourages his children. He finds opportunities for his children. That's what his fathers do. He is a teacher. The father is a teacher at home. He teaches his children how to bring them up, the values, the beliefs. He teaches his children how to grow up and be a man, be the woman you are always known to be. Be a man you are always known to be. He does not destroy his children emotionally. He does not destroy his wife emotionally, his spouse. He teaches. His role is a teacher. He's a provider, disciplinary. When a father sits on that throne as a father, a throne is not just a throne. He has a throne. He plays important part as a discipliner. He creates his principles with his spouse, with his wife. They both create principles, and the children have to live by those principles in the house. As a father, that is his role. But what happens when he's absent? When he's not there to actually give his children principles, prepare the future for his children, play the part as a disciplinary, play a part as a provider, as a teacher, play a part as a nourisher, as a source, play a part as an architect, as a mentor. What happens to that child? That means the roots of that child, that life, because of the absence of their father, they will be broken and they will need the healing. The healing is that's when a mother has to step in, step out, create principles that they will, her children will live by, because the father has walked away from her children. The mother steps up. She creates principles. This is how we're gonna live by. She raises her children. She becomes the provider. She becomes the source of the relationship of her children. She becomes the nourisher. She becomes the protector. She becomes the disciplinary. So that's why when a man walks away, she becomes the woman that teaches her children the values and the beliefs. That's why when a man walks away from her children, and when he comes back to claim the throne, how you respond as a child, it plays a very, very, very important part of how God is able to promote you in your destiny and how you are able to live and go on in your life. Because if you don't know, you're going to respond in a different way that I don't want to see you. But when you respond and say, Father, I honor you, I accept you in my life, but I need to think about this situation that you worked out in my life. So I need to work this out, and I need to get to know your why you're back on my terms. You become the disciplinary. A child becomes the disciplinary and discipline her father in her own terms without an attitude. Your character has to align with who you want to become as a child. You want to become something, you're gonna have to respond based on that character that you want to become. Because God has no mercy when a child violates his 12 commandments. He has no mercy unless you go through forgiveness. You become wrong for the wrongs that your father has done. Because the Bible does not say love your parents. It says honor your father, honor your mother, honor your parents. So you still have to honor him, even if he walked out of your life. You still have to honor him when he returns. But you don't have to allow him in your life that you have created. You still honor him. You don't fight with him. Things has to be done in your terms. Whether you accept him back in your life without fighting him, or whether you want to let him go and love him from the distance. A father's role, a father has to know his role. But when that role is violated, when who is meant to be is violated, a child has a right to actually be a disciplinary. And that's why so many people, they get into depression. They get so many children when they are older, they get into depression because of their fathers messed up with their parents, the elders, whose job is to love them and protect them. So when a parent returns, when from absent, how you respond is the critical component of how you are able to move forward with your response. But if you respond with hatred, that means you are chaining your destiny. Break the chains. If you want to break the chains, you have to respond with honor. Discipline. Be the disciplinary. Respond with honor. Be the disciplinary that I am going to discipline you, my father. You are going to get to know me in my terms, in God's terms, or universe's terms. I don't know what your beliefs that might be. But for me, I believe in God. It means I accept you in my life and I honor you as a father. But you don't get to come into my life, mess my mind, my emotions. You come into my life to play a part as a father. But if his return is to destroy, then how you respond, it will be the critical component of how you are able to move forward. Your acceptance. So if you respond with forgiveness, you still honor your father. It takes loads and loads to do the right thing. It takes laws. It takes the gods. It takes basically somebody's energy to actually do the right thing and say, you know what? I'm gonna listen to your story. If your father he was never there, your mother played a part. He turns up at your graduation to get the glory. You have a right to actually respond by grace, to respond with grace and wisdom. You have a right to, you have to still honor him because he has violated his, in the Bible, a man for his children and his wife, he is a provider. He is the source, he is the nourisher, he is the protector, he is the teacher, he is the discipliner, he is an architect. He is a man that basically is a cultivator. He brings the vision for his family to life. So what happens when that father has violated the commandment of God? That means the throne is taken away from him as a father. He still needs to ask for your forgiveness. He still needs to ask for God's forgiveness. It means you don't owe him anything. It means you don't even need to fight him because it was his choice to walk away. All you got to do is forgive. And forgiveness is the biggest part, is the hard part. You have to forgive because if you don't forgive him, the rules of your life will be broken. Your marriage will be broken because of unforgiveness. The roots, everything will be rotten. You will have a rotten foundation. So it is very, very important for every father that is watching this video, that has been there for their children, to actually celebrate themselves, celebrate and honor themselves for being good fathers in their lives. If they have never celebrated themselves, if they've never seen themselves as they are enough, it is time for them to go and celebrate themselves. Because that part of being a father, the part of staying in touch with your children after marriage, after a broken marriage, is tough. It's tough for a mother, it is tough for a father. It's tough for a mother to allow a man that basically they broke up to face it. It is tough. It's not easy. It is tough. But through forgiveness, there is way. There is a way. So every father that is playing that part, give yourself credit and celebrate you for everything being a father. And for those fathers who are upset, messing up their children's lives, and coming to claim the throne when a child is older, I say to them, they have they have a job to do, to ask for their children forgiveness. So if you are a child who is basically has had her life messed up, and you didn't know how important your life, you played that part in your life, and wondering why my father has not been there. Your father has not been there because he wasn't able to actually to have the courage to take responsibilities. Some children end up basically hurting themselves. I am the reason for my parents' divorce. You were never the reason. You were never the reason for the divorce of your parents. Life happens, and unfortunately, life does not choose. Problems don't choose where they want to be. They just present themselves. We can't pick and choose our problems. So you just have to pray that you had that parents that was able to step up and raise you to become the person you are today, and to be able to basically wanting to um, get a job and wanting to get married, that means you're doing something with your life. So if a father didn't know that his life, his basically present is the foundation and the critical component of his children, emotionally having stability, a father provides stability for his children. And when he leaves, his wife is left with nothing. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Emotionally, the wife gets destroyed. The children gets destroyed. It doesn't matter, even if the children are older. People always say, I need to wait for my children to get older. But emotionally, the children the children gets destroyed. But if you have built your foundation, the children who are lucky is those their fathers, they stick around for the right reason. For those who goes to a different bedrooms and say, I'm gonna help my children by I'm not gonna divorce my wife now, because if we divorce now, it's going to destroy our kids. We're gonna raise our kids together. I'm gonna go to my bedroom and she's gonna go to her bedroom, and the children are going to see that my parents are sleeping in separate rooms, and it's going to make things better. It doesn't. It destroys the kids. When they are older, it destroys them, because basically they look at their lives and they wish that their parents would have divorced and they lived happily after, because they know that they start blaming themselves that I am who I am because of my parents. Because they see and they imagine when they are older, you can imagine what this head of ours can really start thinking. So you have to basically, if your relationship is not working between you and your spouse, the best plan is divorce, but be there for your children. You can't walk away. Take an easy way out. Gonna take an easy way out just because it's easy for me to take. It's easy, and my wife is gonna look after the kids. That's not how it works. A father has to stick around. There is no way it says a mother has to raise the children. A father has to stick around. Father's job is to love, is to create the foundation. The love that he has for the children, he will be planted in that foundation. The care that he has for his children and for his wife will be planted in that foundation. How he nurtures his children will be planted in that foundation. The discipline, how he disciplines the children, it will be planted in the foundation of a child's future. Emotionally, how he supports his children, he will be planted in that foundation. But when your father divorces, doesn't show up, he spent 8 years, let's say maybe a child is 8 years. I divorced when my daughter was 5. But I had no plans of, because sometimes men can want you to just let them go. There were times where I felt that I will be better on my own. But God says, I believed that if I do that to my daughter, it will be very cruel. And I made sure that I cry out loud with the pillows. I made sure that I basically smash the pillows to break every pain that is in my heart, so her father can stick around, so I can forgive, move on, for her father to stick around. So I made sure that every pain, every time when I see the man that I thought I was going to build the foundation with, when I saw that foundation was destroyed, it felt that everything was stripped away from me. It felt that I would be better off not seeing the man, because seeing him every single day, it will be a reminder of the foundation, the promises that were made, and those promises were broken by 2 people. but I had to smash the pillows. I had to go to every psychologist that I can find that can help me to build the future for my child. Because I knew that father had loved her child. That father had nurtured his child. That father had provided for his child. He had built a good foundation for his child. I knew that father had disciplined his child. He had a future. I had seen the future. When you live with somebody, you see the future, how they want their child to live. I had seen the future, his dreams for his child. So I had to make sure that I don't strip that away from my child, which was tough. And every mother out there who has gone through a divorce, who are allowing their father, of the fathers of their children, to actually visit their children, to raise their children, I give you a shout and I give you an award, gold one, gold of excellence. That is not easy, because the father's job in the Bible, even in the universe, the father is the source of everything. The father is the source. I had no idea when I said I was looking for somebody to date. I thought I was looking for just a man, but I didn't know that I was looking for the source, for the DNA that is going to provide for my children. I didn't know that, because my mind, my knowledge, I didn't have the knowledge. Why I was looking for this, I knew what I was looking for, but I didn't know what I was signing my life to. That when you say, I accept you in my life, I want to have a child with you. Basically, I didn't know how important that man will be in my children's life. So I had to respond when the marriage broke up. I had to respond with grace, not hatred. Because physically and emotionally, when the foundation is broken for children and a father, mostly is the daughters that get affected the most when they are raised by absent father, by a single mom without a father. They get affected a lot. They get affected a lot. So that's why father's role is very, very important. The father provides the DNA. He is the source of the DNA of the child. He sustains in his relationship for his children. He protects his children. It's the tree, the roots. Those are the roots that he plants in that tree to raise his children. He provides. He plants the seeds of, I'm a provider. I will provide for you. I will be there for you until I die. I will protect you from the society. I will protect you to make sure that I give you a good environment. It's the water. When he says I protect you, he puts the water into that seed, the roots of the seeds. And he says, I will teach you what I know to be a woman that you want to be. I will teach you what I know to be a man that you want to be. He is planting the seeds in that tree. I will be your cultivator. He tells his wife, I will be your cultivator. The wife is the mentor. So he says to his children, I will be your cultivator. He brings ideas. But a child has to create his own vision. But the man has a vision. How I'm going to raise my children. How he's going to raise his children. He has that vision. So he's a cultivator. He's an architect. He makes sure the children are raised with the values, good values. He plants the beliefs that he plants into those children. That plant will be the critical component of how that child grows up and becomes. He is the disciplinary in that plant. So imagine everything, the provider, the source of the DNA, the sustainer, the architect, the cultivator, the disciplinary has been the tree, the roots, the tree is broken. Imagine what will be the life of that child, what it will be. It doesn't matter how much money the mother has. It doesn't matter. So you have to imagine the picture of how that child is going to be when she's older. Without a cultivator, without a provider. A provider does not just provide financially, they provide emotionally, physically. They are there for you. They are there teaching you the values, beliefs. They are there in the society to protect you. That's your father. He's there to protect. And then one day you get up in the morning, he's gone. So imagine what we'll do to that child. So if a father is walked away from his children, he needs to go back. Go back instead of talking to a child. Go back and imagine planting a seed of the foundation. Imagine telling your child that I'm a provider to you. Imagine telling a child that I am the source. I am your DNA. My inheritance. I am your inheritance. Your DNA. I am a nourisher to your life. I am the source. I am the protector. I am the teacher, the provider, the disciplinary, the architect, the cultivator. And then if that cultivator one day is gone, imagine what is doing to your children. If you had more than one child, what is doing to your child? Just imagine. If you've never asked for any forgiveness to your child, imagine. I was raised by my dad. I know what it means for my father to be in the present, for my father to teach me his values, his beliefs, to teach me to be the woman that I want to be. I know how it feels. It makes me happy, although that my father and my mother divorced. It makes me happy that yes, they had the courage to divorce. But it also makes me happy that my father had to step up as a man to say, I'm going to take responsibilities and provide for my children. I'm going to take responsibilities and be the source of my children. I'm going to take responsibilities, be an architect, be a provider, be a cultivator, be the teacher for my children, be the disciplinary for my children. That makes me happy when I think of that. Because that leaves me when I got to my adult age, my messed up life was to deal with my parents' divorce. I didn't have to deal with the absence of my father. I had to deal with my parents' divorce. Which was one thing that I had to deal with. I had to accept that people, they grow older. They grow and they go separate ways. People are different. And I had to look back how I'm able to select my relationship now that I do have the knowledge, I do have all these resources where I can go and read, but my parents didn't have all those resources. So that's what I'm actually grateful to God that He was there to help my father, to give my father strength to be a father that he was in my life. And I'm happy that he gave my stepfather the strength to accept me as his child in his life, because my stepfather, I never saw him in my life as my stepdad. I always called him dad, because as a father he knew, because he married my mom, he knew I am a provider for this child. He knew I am basically the sustainer, the protector, the teacher. I am the discipliner. He would discipline me if I did something wrong. He had the authority. He knew that as a father, he had the authority to discipline. So if you are a father who is not there for his children, making an excuse that I'm not there because of your mother didn't want me to be there, no one can take away the authority of you being a father. That is an excuse. Did you fight as a child? You have to ask your father, did you fight for me? So if you are a father who is out there who has been denied authority to your children, you have to fight for your children, because that place, that missing puzzle, it destroys the roots of the child's growth. We don't have authority to take away someone is right, someone is father's right not to see their children. But the child has authority to say, you know what? You were never there for me. You provided sperm for my mother. Even the Bible does not allow a father to walk away. Yes, divorce is there, but the Bible does not allow a father to walk away from his children and not providing for his children, not providing, not playing a part. Because the parents that steps up, and that parents become the source, he becomes the father. So if a mother decides, I'm gonna step up, be a woman, that means she becomes a man and a woman. So a man, if he says, okay, your mom didn't want me to see you, what did you do? Did you go to court? Because court will give you the right to see your children. A father in that relationship gives a sense of balance. The present is present, it gives the sense of balance. Raising a child as a father, it gives a child a sense. It helps them. It helps them to identify a man when they are older, the real man. When a child is raised by her father, when they are older, it helps them to identify who can play a part as a father for my children. They don't compare you, but we tend to compare, but we are not meant to compare our fathers with our husband. So it helps a woman to identify her husband, who can be my husband because of the role of her father. She wouldn't want to date some man who has no vision. She want to date a man who has a vision. But when a child grows up without a father, it causes confusion when a woman wants to actually select a man, because she doesn't know emotionally she's still messed up. But if she decides to work on her emotions, then she'll be able, because the acceptance, the forgiveness, she'll be able to choose the right man in her life. But most of the time, it messes women up when a father is not in the present. So what I will leave you today, we all have choices in life. Fathers and mothers, we all have choices in life. But if you do have a child out there, get in touch with your child. Don't wait until they are on their graduation. Wait until they are on some reality TV. They win a reality TV, then you show up because you want to be recognized as a sperm donor. Because your role as a father it gets stripped away the day you decide to walk away. That's what the Bible says, not me, your creator, the universe and God. You only have to claim it, reclaim that throne of the Father if you ask for your forgiveness and play a part. There are some fathers who come back to their children and they basically know that they are sorry, but they play a big part into their children's life, and they look after, help with the grandchildren, and they help in so many ways because of that child decided to forgive. So if you are a father who has walked away, think about it. What is doing to your child? The foundation that you've destroyed to your children. And if you are a father who has stood by his children, raised your children, and they became who they wanted to be, give yourself the credit. And I personally give you gold for being a role model as a father. God bless you, everyone. Live with grace. We are here at Ngozi Talk Shows, Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. UK time. So please do join us. And if you want to work with any of our coaches, please do get in touch with them, or get in touch with me, or go to our website and get in touch with whoever the coach you want to get in touch or connect with us on our channels. God bless.